Close. Woodstock out there, yeah.
But I think that's more senior than, well, I'm just saying, I think going to. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sure. Or it might still be unlocked. If not, I think Mike has a key before he moves. Let's see if the box fits.
It's trying really hard. Always have it.
I say it has a- Did it have a headache?
No, they turn it over there. See if we can work it together. We're gonna get going in about 1 minute.
I did that, but I will make sure I know that. No, I just want to know that she's responsible for collecting them, but I need to know that it got handed in, so that it's.
Basic mark, what they got? Basic price square foot.
290 to 100 square foot.
93.
Square foot per house?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do like a straight range or straight cave, you get $100 range plus or minus, depending on how they do it. The windows, Anderson, would be more, or they'll go with the vinyl windows, which is RV right now, which is a good window.
Collecting what my needs are still looking for.
Absolutely.
All right, you know what, let me
We'll get their numbers, we'll come to their lot, do whatever she needs.
yeah, well, I'll say her, got a second, she got to go to, they bought it for an old house down a couple of years ago.
Look, Jim McCall from Crowley, we just did one. Just in his daughter's house, she can come up to the house.
I'm gonna actually, I'll see about a month. But I've seen you work already.
But I mean, if she wants to see it, sometimes the people want to know.
There's a new password.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to rejoin.
We'll help her anywhere.
I'm at it.
Yeah, anybody in Raleigh, did you hear that as well?
Yeah, no, I know. Yes. Anybody wants Wi-Fi access?
Anybody here? And if you were previously here, you have to rejoin.
What's that? Oh, now, right now, maybe they applied. And that's about a year.
Nope.
Tired. Somebody said, yeah, yeah.
All right.
It's fine.
We're gonna get started.
All right.
The chair calls to order the regular monthly meeting of the planning board on 7, 6:05 p.m. Do I have a motion to open this meeting? Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Motion carries unanimously. The meeting is now brought to order. Clerk will now call the roll.
Greg Petrol,
Present.
Deb Costa. Here. Dennis O'Clair.
Here.
Janet Briggs. Here. Mitchell Collins absent. Carl Bruckner.
Here.
Ray Palmer, as of now, no. And Ronald Green.
Let the record show that we have 5 members present. In accordance with town code, alternate member Ronald Green will vote in place of member Rich Cohen. Count of voting members to 6. Let's all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair makes a motion to open public comment. I have a second. Yep. All those in favor say aye. Public comment is now open. Is there anyone who, this is separate from the public hearing. This is just, if you have other issues other than the public hearing, this is the opportunity for the public to speak. So is there anyone who would like to speak at public comment?
Specific to one of the projects or just.
So I presume you're here for the public hearing for Beetle Pink Road. Right, so that's coming up. All right. Okay. So if there's no one here, so if there's no objection, the chair moves to close public comment. Having heard no objections, public comment is now closed. The chair makes a motion to approve meeting minutes for April 22nd, 2026. Is there a second? Janet? Minutes have been distributed electronically to all members. Are there any members who have not reviewed the minutes for April 22nd? All right. Any further discussion? Motion on the table is to approve the meeting minutes for April 22nd. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Get on. We have a request for extension. This is 2515 Carey. That is from last year. It was a lot line adjustment with the process, and they are currently approval, but the applicants will present final maps. So they requested another 6-month extension. Any discussion on that? So, I need a motion to grant the 6-month extension. So I'm going to make a motion here. So the chair makes a motion to grant 6-month extension to the sketch plan approval for application 2515 Carey LLA to allow the applicant to present final maps that meet the requirements. That's it. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving to next. So we have 554 public hearing, because that means the public hearing last time every 2 minutes is going to start. And so well, actually, I'm going to actually move forward. One of the, oh, yes. I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce the board in particular, William Spencer, who's our building inspector.
Oh,
So, and a quick update on the reimbursements for the NYPF conference.
sure. Um, So the three members that went to the conference in Cooperstown in April, the town board approved reimbursement for, whoever drove mileage. Carl paid for one night of his hotel room, so he's getting reimbursed for that. And they were all reimbursed for $25 toward dinner on Sunday and Monday. So, you want the figures? So Mitch is being reimbursed $50 for the dinners. Carl is being reimbursed $160, which is the room and the two dinners. And Ray is being reimbursed $234.15 since he drove, plus the two dinners. The rooms the rest of the rooms and the conference registration was already paid for by the town.
And we also had one voucher.
We have a voucher from 21st Century or the Daily Freeman for the Baxter public hearing for tonight. And it ran on it's ad number 2814325 and in the amount of $42.39, which gets reimbursed by the town.
Any questions on vouchers or anything like that? So what we will do now is recess the meeting for 5 minutes so that we can start at 5:15 and the public hearing is set to begin. You are now able to speak for 5 minutes.
They drink, get bathroom.
The structure, the folder structure, right?
Yep.
So the applications are still in, some of which ones? Well, I mean, I have them.
Yeah. This is the.
So they're electronically on top of that's like if you're getting the upgrade and you want it to be, and you want it to be considered safe, that you hit safe.
Okay, so some of the.
So everything
Yeah.
Was that
What was it?
What was it? It was High Park,
So,
that should have sounded.
oh, it did, but I just.
But there's an email that says where the one that they followed. I've done it. I'm not seeing anything from anybody. How about the blender?
To do the quarterly biannual update. So anything you have. I'm not gonna, it's gonna be on the new truck, but on the old truck, training and certificates.
Yeah, we got another form.
Because you have to drop anything in. So,
All right, thank you. All right.
then we need to figure out that.
Okay, where they. It's like a six.
This is not a hill. Yeah, you can look like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we have, 1 minute left, so what I'll do is I'll start with, my little bit of preamble for public hearings. First off, so I'm the chair, and, for anyone to speak, I need to recognize you. Once you're recognized, you'll have 4 minutes to speak, roughly, we'll be flexible. But no one else should be speaking at that time. So that's the one big rule I have is while somebody has the floor, they have the floor, no one's interjecting. And really what I'm trying to do is make sure that we're not doing sidebar conversations. The idea here is that everything needs to be part of the planning board record so that it becomes part of the overall application. And the board gets an opportunity to consider everything that's being provided to it. Make sense? Wonderful. So with that, the chair makes a motion to open the public hearing on preliminary plat approval for application 2501 Baxter, 5-lot subdivision of SBL 47.4-315-100. Do I have a second? Thank you, Carl. Yeah, Carl. Please.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I knew. All those in favor say aye. I didn't know. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing is now open. So when I recognize you, please state your name, and your address and sort of how you're related to this particular project. All right, so let us begin. Who would like to begin? Who is here to speak at the public hearing? Wonderful. So, please state your name. Let me stop you there and make sure the clerk is recorded that.
205.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. You have the floor.
Move the letter to the town board.
Yes.
Sure.
Please. I feel the part of subdivision sewer on it. Yeah. We'll change the area dramatically. Let me know the environmental assessment. Whatever. The section DJ, so that we know effect on traffic. Due to the, 5 or 6 houses up there. Additional 5 more houses in double. Is that? Right. Definitely. The road is there with winding near existing homes. And I think it'd be better, the entrance to the development, at the southern end of the lot. The small part portion, but the structure still takes there, and the end of this. No, it's steep there. More difficult to get, I think the film generator there to use, sometimes also the project, it's like the, very low and everything. It's right and stuff. Good use of it. You guys, the entrance, well, possibly back here. You know, with the tree fall, something that's like, up there. Anyway, most of the time, for sure. Because Fieldcrest Road, Williams West, a bunch of houses, and the house goes right on the road. Structure you try to break it. Every gym here, that's the conscious. It's not the sanity, for instance. And on trucks, it was all. Long-term regular trucks with the sheriff of the area. So I hope that the aspect of the project is reviewed by the appropriate agencies. And a traffic study is formally required.
Appreciate your comments. So to summarize, your comments, it sounds like one of the big concerns you're having is additional traffic along the length of the field gate.
It's sort of narrow, it's quite, but one of the portion there, it's actually still left on the south end. So it's pretty wide, substantial. So give it, goes from like 22 feet of pavement. The measure to like 16 feet or something. Put, right, snow walls supporting that. I don't want to get into it. I think people like traffic from, skip to place it. Especially the construction there, the delivery people. You want nicer.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
I'd like to continue with, because it's about the road that my concern.
Please state your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Elizabeth Schreier, also at 205 here. My main concern had to do with, was there a road study done at any time to determine, what the effect would be of the increased traffic, not only during construction, but following. I would like to know about if you know anything, about the impact of the construction vehicles on certain narrow areas and areas of weakness. And we know that there are a couple of areas on that road where the highway itself has, at certain points, slid down toward extreme highway. I shouldn't call it a highway, it's a little road. And there's a place right now within where several of the houses are that also shows weakness.
You
And
could
I
either
think the
grab one of
building,
those chairs or sit over there. And
I think the highway superintendent is aware of some of those.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd like to know if there's a contingency plan, in the event of an emergency, should the road suffer damage due to the construction vehicles. We typically have, frequent road blockages, either from power outages or trees in the road. And I know that the town does a wonderful job getting quickly, they're usually the first people there to try to alleviate some of the problems before Central Hudson comes. But you worry about the population on my roads. Some of us are a little older, And, you know, suppose you need an ambulance or you need a fire truck or something like that. And, you know, there's a problem that has occurred with the road that can't be taken care of.
And just to clarify, so are you talking about, improving the response to various emergencies like that? Or are you talking about an alternate ingress?
Well, I think, as of right now, we don't see, you know, obviously if you have a big storm, there are other areas that get serviced first. So I'm not
I
concerned
actually
so
don't
much.
know the answer to that.
Sir, I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is in the midst of all of this construction, that we need to have some kind of a plan, I would guess, to, if something happens to the road, people need to get in and out, and that would be a problem. And again, you know, to just expand a little on what Jim said, is there any discussion of changing the entrance to the property to minimize, you know, the effect on most of the current the taxpayers on the road at this time? Or was there ever any discussion about this?
Yes, we have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Additional question, because I think the subdivision is too big.
I actually wrote that down already. Thank you.
All right, Doug Braden, 156 Steel Pit Road.
One moment, let's make sure the clerk has gotten that. Yes,
What was the address?
156 Steel Pit.
you have the floor.
My main concern is the traffic on the road. Just north of 108, the new driveway going down into the new house, the road narrows down to 16 feet wide. And part of the road is falling into the stream at that point. I pointed it out to the highway superintendent, and his answer was, well, it's not as bad as the other one. Well, it's bad. It's 16 feet wide, no way to resolve it if something happens, and the people are trapped. And I've been living there over 50 years, and many times on that road, on its very narrow turn there, that widest part is 18 feet from the turn. The speed limit's 30 miles an hour. The trucks come up there, they don't know the road. The people that live there are aware of it and they're careful. But every day, there's an incident where one of us can get hurt. Can you imagine on a 18-foot wide road, a 10-wheeler coming around the turn at 30 miles an hour, and you meet head on? It happens almost every day because met garbage trucks, UPS trucks, and had to slam on my brakes and pull to the side. I spoke to the highway superintendent. He said he would put a 20-mile-an-hour sign there to slow people down, but it's a waste of time. They're not going to pay attention to the sign, and so it was never done.
So let me ask you this, as you or members of the community, the residents of Field Pit, coming to a town board meeting to present this to the town board?
No, I've spoken to the highway superintendent, but I sent pictures of the narrow spots on the road.
We have received that, thank you.
And so that's the big concern. The houses are right on the road. Don here had his,
I'll answer to that, yes.
had his wires.
I can speak better than anybody about this.
All right, so are you finished?
Yeah, so that's my main concern. If something happens to the road, we're trapped. And also the speed of the road is too high. And there's no markings, no signs, nothing. And if you have never been up the road, you should really check it out, because it's a farm road.
Yes.
The rest of the road was widened over the years. It's impossible to widen where the house is. It's either the house or the street. So that's my main concern.
All right, thank you.
Don Boonstra, 142 CLP. DOONS. I think the reason why we haven't submitted anything is we just got notified about this meeting. It's the first thing I was ever aware that was, able to speak to it. I'd like to put this into record. It's a letter, but in the back, you can look at some pictures. I'm gonna read brief up. I know I'm limited, so I'll read as fast as I can. By the way, I've been in your position. I served 9 years in politics, been through all this.
Wonderful.
I'll cut through this. Right. My concerns are the following. Heavy and frequent construction truck traffic on a road that is not up to current code standards. The road has many curves whereby an oncoming vehicle cannot be seen in a safe manner to be able to avoid an accident with a large truck or the nature used for laying asphalt and concrete or delivering building material. That's what I was speaking to. There's one area by this one house that if a truck's coming on and he's doing, and they do 40 or 50 miles an hour, because they figure nobody's around. By the time you turn that back, it's groundwater runoff, and the second thing, groundwater runoff from extensive access roads that will need to be constructed. See, there are to gain access to all the housings proposed. The adjacent stream is a fish-bearing stream and prone to dramatic increase in near flood level. There is currently no road drainage system that is planned this planned housing development can be tied into, which I believe is true, correct?
There's actually a culvert system that's being proposed.
And where would that drain into?
So, as part of the process, the curb cut got reduced to just one curb cut, and the culvert system is going to be adjacent to that.
And it feeds into where?
Into the bringing of the
Yeah, that's the problem. Third, road fortitude to endure excessively heavy equipment traveling on the road. The road has already sustained damage from another project that has been going on for the past 3 years. The highway superintendent reached out to alluded to. He spoke to me. I believe you guys have an estimate for the one repair of $600,000 already, which is a lot of money. I've been in your shoes. Even 5 houses paying $15,000 a year of property taxes that in 8 years you have to break even because of that. And this is caused by intended trucks. So that's real quick. So the second part, can you show him the social application that I did? In May of approximately a year ago, I was sitting on my rear deck of my house. I heard what sounded like an explosion or someone had hit my garage. My garage is about 5 feet from the door. When I first moved up there, I said, "Is that okay?" And the guy said, "Well, it is because it was pre-existing, and that's fine." So that was unusual. I ran on my house to the road to the front to find wires all over the ground and all electrical boxes on the ground just near my car. This is true. I had been lying under that car 15 minutes prior to this happening, and I probably wouldn't be here talking about this because I'm 2x3 box with a kid. This was all caused by Stickles Concrete Company driving down Field Page to go turn around at a neighbor's house down the road, which he shouldn't be able to do to begin with. What happened? I'll paraphrase. He came down the road. 2 of his trucks went through. The third one came and hit the wires that were going from the other side of the road to my house. Tore everything down. I went outside. I couldn't even fathom what had just happened. There was stuff all over the ground. It actually even ripped the wires out of my house in my junction box inside of my house, took those wires out. So I was out of my house for 4 days because I had no electricity. And I lost money. I had nothing to do with this, and I lost money because of deductibles. And the 2 different deductibles that they hit me with. I had almost $30,000 worth of bills between my car and reconstruction of my electrical system, siding and stuff like that, which they wouldn't pay me for because they said my siding's too old. So this is my concern. There's still low-lying wires on that street, and a CDL driver is supposed to be aware of those things. The problem is some are and some aren't. And in this case, it caused a major problem and really could have been really tragic for me. But that is the major concern. I think most of us probably wouldn't be here if they were building 1 house or 2. I'm speaking for myself. But I believe they would, we could handle that. The road could deal with 2 more cars, 3 more cars going back and forth. But talking about 10 to maybe more cars going, I imagine these are pretty big houses. So they could have 2 to 3 cars in these houses. You've been down that road. It's not made for that kind of traffic. It just isn't. And then there's the environmental situation, which, if I have to press, I'll get involved in too, because I dealt with this so much in New Jersey with environmental studies and stuff like that. And I can tie this thing up as I want. It'll take a lot of time. I really don't want to do it, but I can do it. So I'm sure there's environmental committees around here that if I make them aware of this situation, especially with that water going into the stream. I should have taken pictures of my stream. Right now, it's probably a foot deep They can go as high as 4 feet.
So let me stop you there for a moment.
Sure.
Specifically, what are your environmental concerns with?
Well, mostly flooding, mostly flooding. Mostly flooding, because right now it's already, like I said, it can go to 4 feet. And it goes right to the bank of the rear of my property. Another foot or two, and I'm getting close to having an issue, a real issue. I wasn't here during Irene. Doug, maybe you can speak to that, how it was.
The bridge going to my property was 4 feet over the top of my bridge.
And it washed out the road at the end of the field.
Yeah,
Not
washed
early,
the
yeah.
bridge out on Early Mountain Road.
So this is without the help of fine houses with concrete, with pads, with roads, roading. That'll just contribute more so to this problem. And if it's a culvert, it's gonna really add to the problem. It's like a dam, That's pretty much,
It's a trout stream.
and it's a protected trout stream. So that's where the environmentalists are gonna get involved if I have to make that phone call.
Well, so I've taken down, bring up some good areas to investigate for us. There's the flooding, the road itself, the electrical wires being too low. And,
Which that could be remedied, but again, it has to be remedied before anything does happen. Let's say you do approve this, this has to be remedied. Because I've looked at other wires, it's amazing you didn't hit other wires because they're all kind of low,
certainly one of my objectives is to make sure that the
Right.
community is not adversely impacted by this.
But I welcome you to sit by my house and watch these, especially these cement trucks, which I gave you a picture of Stickles' actual truck, which most of the cement trucks are like that now. There's gonna be tons of these trucks. The other house that Doug put it to that's down in the valley, I think had 25 loads of dirt, not dirt, but stone coming for his driveway. I mean, these were heavy trucks. So they'd go there, and because they couldn't turn around, they'd go all the way to the other end of our road and then turn around.
So I think I've captured everything, and,
And again, I'm speaking for myself, but I believe that if it was one house, two houses, this probably wouldn't be as much of an issue because of less ground coverage and less traffic.
yes, understood, already written down.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
I know I'm
the
a little-
comments. Let's move on to the next person. Yes, in the back.
These firms, 1, 2, 3, field page,
Mr. Burns.
basically.
You have the floor.
Yeah, I second what they're saying, the noise, also I got 2 kids, noise, I'm wondering if there's 8 hours, until they could be working, so that it doesn't go too early, middle to work, across the way, and there's been days where chainsaws at 6 a.m. So I really am concerned about that. The traffic on the road is a huge concern. And vehicles, huge vehicles that are before, and then later, Amazon trucks speed, especially if we walk along the road, so safety. Septic systems being by digging through septic system, water.
Is there a specific concern you have about that?
I mean, if it affects, drainage or farm, water.
I mean, it's a legitimate concern, but the county Department of Health ensures that that doesn't happen. So
See, it's a huge one. That road, we're there and I love it for us. Because that many houses being built and all of the noise and all of the. People prefer normal way of life. The safety, I think, is number one.
Can I piggyback on it?
you're at 30 seconds.
That's good enough. Again, like I said, I've dealt with this before, and usually when the county, or EPA gets involved, it's after the fact. And you've seen many times, we had many residents come to us, their houses were fine, and all of a sudden they got water in the basement and they're getting floods. We had some horror stories. Because people do the construction, it all looks fine, and then a storm comes, or a 100-year storm comes, and now I, as a council member, have a problem. So it's a
To your
valid
point,
point.
your your community's feedback to us gives us the ability to really focus in on these particular issues and take your concerns really to heart. All right, anybody else? Yes, please.
Hi, Elizabeth and Ted Stroder. We live right next door to where the driveway's been put in, 157 Gilpin Road. That area has natural springs galore. And, the water comes, it's been raining a lot. I've seen the grass look like it was cold. Actually cold, with a brush. Because that much water was coming through where the little culvert from one to go. And we walk our dogs there, and their kids are in the road all the time. And the kids down the end of the road, they're in the road. I think it's nice that they have that neighborhood that they can do that. But of course, the road is crumbling. I was here last year. I really wanted to just say I was concerned, but the way you do things is you write a complaint. So I wrote a complaint to the building director. And I did.
So there's to the highway department? You sent them?
Yes, I was here. Yeah. Okay. And I took pictures and I sent them, and it's crumbling. There's that place right, it's a little down from our house. There's no shoulder. It's actually cracked and crumbling right to the shoulder. And now, closer to where the driveway, the new driveway is being put in, that road is starting to crumble too. That's got wide, well, it drops. There's more land. But when we're right closer to our house, there's nothing, it drops. And I don't know how you could shore it up. The highway guys have been there. We've seen them. Lots of guys, lots of trucks, several cars. I don't think they know what to do about it.
They know exactly what to do with it, at least my conversations. The problem is that it's a bigger fix.
Yeah.
That's the whole-
Okay. And the other thing is, I mean, you're driving past all the properties, turning around and driving back to your new house. Is that necessary? I mean, I know they say it's steep, but have you seen the roads in the neighborhood? They're all steep.
So you're referring to the alternate,
Right.
road?
There are other places to get up on the property, as I understand it.
Yes, that was already brought up, but.
And they
sounds
said
like-
it was steep, but the neighborhood is steep. That's the neighborhood. Okay.
Right, that 5 seconds. The road was just repaved roughly, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. And it's already been destroyed.
For all these repairs, especially if we're bringing all these trucks, that increase for that.
You and I.
That's okay.
Right?
It's more complicated than that, but
No, it's not.
all right. Is there anyone else who has a comment? Yes, please.
Yeah, it's go to 157 Field Pit Road. Most of the stuff's already been talked to by my fellow field papers here, but I just on the way out, I just measured the crack in the road that's straight down from our house. It's really a real steep area. As it was mentioned, from the road to the drop off, and it's almost vertical, is like maybe 2 feet or something. That's really not much there. And I just measured it. It's roughly 75 feet crack right now. The length of the crack is significant.
So that crack goes parallel to the road.
Parallel to the road, yeah, all along it, and it's all along the spot where it's really steep.
I think I've seen it.
Drop straight off.
Those 60 feet long, probably more.
That's good feedback.
Yeah, it's easily 75 feet right now. I just measured the quick measure before it came down. That's
And
the
how
only thing I
How
want.
much further do you think it went over the course of a year? So if it's 75 feet now, how,
We walk the dogs every day, we can see it.
How long is it?
so was it maybe
Has it
50 feet
progressed?
last year or was it 25? feet
On the
last year?
length of the crack.
It it hasn't been increasing over time.
I don't know.
Yeah, but they're mostly new cracks. Not to say the last year or two.
It has been increased, you know, it wasn't, certainly wasn't 75 feet initially.
If anybody can get more concrete about that, please email us so that we have that
That's not a
information.
fun. That's not a fun.
Highway department's been there. Are they here tonight?
They had engineers there to check it out.
Scratching their head.
But,
That's
so,
gonna be,
so the, you know, you have the observations over time where we can't do that, so that information is valuable to us.
Well, that's why I spoke to you about it, only the paving, and you'd have to look it up. It hasn't been that long, maybe it's 4 years, I'm not sure.
You're right, that part I've already
But
answered.
that's what's surprising, that the new pavement, it doesn't look new anymore. Because I also walked the building, I'm like, wow, this is, like, I feel like going to seal on myself. In fact, I even wrote an email to Mike saying, you know, maybe you want to get your guys up here to seal the cracks, because they just get worse, you know? It's a shame, you know, because it's taxpayer money, you know?
Understood. Anybody else? Oh, yes.
Tim Moot, 201, Field
I apologize, your name again?
Tim Moot, MOOT, 201, Field. So again, sorry to play, echo all the comments on the road. Strongly urge planning board to take a walk 1 mile. And I'll join you and show you all the evidence. This is all very visible. We lost half the road by bonds and gold coins. I don't remember the exact year, but about 2006 to 2008. But there was a significant complete washout. The narrow roads to begin with, and we lost half. Probably out of condition before I would guess. I've seen the road flood even prior. Since Irene, the culvert at the turn, we're seeing climate change, very intense rainfalls, high intensity rainfalls. I took a quick look at the information online. This map seems to be updated to what information online is. I request that if there's new information filed that's constantly put up there, if you'll find information. I took a look quickly. Your EAF online shows the presence of wetland, floodplain, class C trout stream that we talked about. You need to show typically in our business how we're protecting those features. Generally, you can look on the state wetlands map, which doesn't satisfy the existence of wetlands, urge and actual biologists looking for what is it mentioned the springs throughout the wetlands are the highest concentration.
I'm really happy to know that I actually personally did all the mapping for the town for the natural resources inventory, so I know wetlands extremely well for the.
And so that needs to be reflected on the map and how they're going to be protected. Looking at this is just too much, in my opinion, the grades and contours that are out there. I checked to see if there was a stormwater pollution prevention plan, which is not yet been posted. I guess that's clear. With that, there's exclusions for steep slopes greater than 25%. Not even an area that you're about, but it could be considered the upstream area as well. You're going to need to get SHPO sign off, and I think if you get it after it's indicated that it's archaeological sensitivity. So again, on your studies, that. The road itself needs to be in compliance with New York State fire access road requirements. Steep slopes greater than 10%. Put this on the plan that I saw we don't qualify. Septic systems, as we're showing on the plan, are on slopes exceeding 20%. And I know it's a common theme, all the health department will take care of that. It shouldn't even go to them. You can't even get a slip coverage if you are disturbing more than 2 acres on this slope area. That's pretty slow. There's to me too much. You guys are supposed to be doing the best project for the town. This is too much. I want you to see that.
Sorry, Greg, can I show, I just want to show you the video. This is the study, great, looking from my house after the storm.
Can you do me a favor?
Send that to you. You have an email or?
Planning at townofhurley.ny.gov.
Oh.
It's in the letter. It's in the
Is it a
letter.
letter? Okay, that's fine.
It's in
Then I
the,
will send it.
right.
I'll send you a before and after. Like, I'll take a picture of how it looks now.
Wonderful. Anybody else?
Yeah, but. So my name is Thomas Laughlin. I currently live in New Paltz, New York. So neighbor, I'm over near town. Just wanted to take a few moments, speak to some of the things I've heard and just to share some of the thoughts and ideas.
Are you affiliated to the neighborhood or the
Yeah.
applicant?
So unfortunately, I can't relate to living on field paper generationally or having previous government experience in your position or concerns of size of developments or road conditions, et cetera. But what I can share is I'm a local small business owner. I have 4 kids. My wife's pregnant. Prior to tonight's evening, appreciate you. Prior to tonight's meeting, we were, ecstatic to consider moving on the field paper. Although my concern now is I don't know how excited our neighbors would be to have us here. Safety is paramount. Appreciate that. So lots of concerns of wires, stormwater, and condition of the road. I live on a dead end currently. I probably average 22 miles an hour. So that safety, I embrace our dead end road situation, although the size of our home has, not quite fit our current immediate needs that we're considering moving. The developer in question, is someone I know personally who I know has done well by so many people throughout Ulster County, Columbia County, probably several more that I'm not mentioning. So I just want everyone to consider, it appears that this will be happening, whether 5 is too much and 4 is acceptable. With 27 acres, they perhaps could have gone for 6 or 7. That didn't happen. I think if the local tone is, hey, we don't want you guys here, locals may not be here, and someone from somewhere, whether it's one of the boroughs, Long Island, another state, they will be. So I would much rather, family like mine, born and raised in Hudson Valley, join the community. And, I grew up on the Hurley Flats prior to all of the changes. Went to Kingston High. Anyone with kids in this area, certainly someone in my family, for sure. So I'm looking forward to being here. I would hope that, we have some, neighborly camaraderie. And just want to share my side of it because I might be the only person on this side of the, the aisle. So, we come in peace. And yes, I do have, family of 7 house. I care very much about the environment, going into wetland causes, have done wetland conservation studies, worked with DEC forestry programs. So I care very much about all of that in the environment. And I think that there's some levers for some good folks to make it look at potentially a better place, although that may not be well received. I would like to neighborly camaraderie about future people on the road. So my affiliation is potential future neighbor.
All right, appreciate the comment.
To speak to that is, it's not, we would welcome you, but there's gonna be 4 other houses there also, and that's the issue. And also a note, during the ice storm of, again, 3 or 4 years ago, we were trapped in our houses for 3 days. We are literally trapped and cannot get out of our houses for 3 days because trees are down. I couldn't get propane delivered, so my generator was running out because the propane guy couldn't get there for almost 5 or 6 days.
So, understood. I live on High Rocks, also a very long dead-end road, too narrow for its own good. So I know these issues very well. I know what it's like to be trapped for 7 days during that same ice storm. So, yes. And I really appreciate everybody coming out and providing you the valuable feedback to the board. So, yes, so there are some written comments that Maggie's going to quickly read into the record. If there's no other people, so before we close the public hearing, we'd like to read these into the record as well.
First one's from James Schreier at 205 Field Pate. First of all, we are very disappointed with the prospect of a major subdivision in our quiet neighborhood and are hoping that it can be reduced in size. However, at this time, we would like to address the proposed private access road as shown on the preliminary drawings. Lot 47.4-3-15.1 has frontage on Field Pate at 2 points, the northeast and southeast corners. The proposed private access road uses the northeast corner, and this presents the following problems. Construction traffic. The northeast location will result in years of construction vehicles traveling through a quiet neighborhood of 8 homes that are situated close to the road. A project of this size will result in a heavy flow of trucks hauling building materials, both endangering children and disrupting the area. Post-construction traffic. Once the project is completed, it will continue to disrupt the neighborhood since it will nearly double the traffic through the area with residential vehicles and service/delivery vehicles. Existing town road. Field Pate Road is approximately 22 feet wide at the southern end, but is reduced to as little as 17 feet where it passes by the 8 houses. It also has a few sharp turns and blind driveways in this area. Also, where the road is narrowed by the homes, there are several stone walls on the west side and steep drop-offs on the east side. You realize the southern access has a steep embankment and that it would require substantial work to install the road. However, we feel this temporary inconvenience is outweighed by the permanent inconvenience that would be forever established on this small, quiet neighborhood. Please consider requiring the private access road to be constructed at the southern access point before the house neighborhood. And secondly, from Aaron and Marie Hurwitz, we have lived on Field Pate Road in Hurley for over 35 years. With the plans for the subdivisions and the building of houses on the subdivisions, we feel that Field Pate Road is not ready for this with no major improvements to the road and surrounding area. The road is too narrow, winding, and cannot handle more people to move onto the road, which will create more traffic. Field Pate Road was not constructed to tolerate today's construction trucks delivering materials, destroying the surface of the road. The telephone and electric lines are not high enough for large construction trucks. There's already been an incident where an electric line got caught on the top of the truck, tore off an electric box off one of our neighbors' houses, and incurred costly expenses in disrupting their lives. Constructing new houses with septic systems, wells, and buildings will do much harm to the environment. If lots are cleared, it will affect drainage for the houses that already exist on the road. Clearing lots for building will create more of a flood potential, which we have already experienced. Trees are already toppling down on the road, causing the road to be shut down, electric phone and internet service being cut off. Field Pate Road already gets closed once or twice a year with trees falling on this dead end and creating a dangerous situation since there is no way in or out except from Murray Mountain Road. When this happens, trees block fire trucks and ambulances from gaining access to Field Pate Road. The wildlife that has inhabited the woods on both sides of this road will be impacted forever, and they will come into more contact with humans, which can be dangerous, especially with the amount of bears that seem to be increasing every year. The noise of trucks and construction will be very disruptive for all wildlife and people living here now. Adding buildings with more people living in these new homes, there will be many more cars driving up and down the road, which is just a very bad idea. Thank you in advance for your consideration of this matter. And there's the notice for tonight.
Spoke, so we will also add that to the record. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this public comment?
I would just like to say one thing. What is happening with the repair of the road? How can you let this go forward until that is taken care of? That's right in my front yard. If a truck goes in to that, collapses in it, it's gonna be in that stream. Then they're gonna have to come on my property to recover the truck, damage my property.
So as planning board, we are absolutely going to respond to all of these concerns. And we're going to, as much as we can possibly answer these questions, we will. And when we can't, we will simply tell you what the appropriate next steps for all of us, the community as a whole, are for us to move forward and make this a better situation. So, with that, thank you all for sharing your comments today. We've recorded them. We will summarize them. We will get them out to the board so they can each individually study them. And this will be part of our deliberation on this application.
Do we know when the next meeting is scheduled for?
So the next meeting is regularly scheduled. It's going to be June 4th.
We'll be on that agenda.
That this application will most certainly, but public comment will be available. There won't be another public hearing, but public comment will certainly be available.
So you're not gonna close the public hearing?
So the public hearing is going to close now, but as I said, because the application is going to stay open, we as a planning board, if you send written comment in, we accept it. In addition, every planning board meeting has a public comment at the beginning that any of you are welcome to speak on.
Does it have a public comment after the meeting or at the end of the meeting?
We don't do that.
Because then we're not able to respond to whatever's been talked.
So as I said,
I know we always allowed conversation before and after, because if the whole discussion happens, and I sit here and I can't comment to what's being said, especially if it's not true, that's a problem.
So what we can do is we can make a combination there and place a second public comment at the end
Fair enough.
if anybody shows.
So in the letter that all of you got, the email address to submit comments, pictures, videos is at the top of the letterhead. And I will also be updating the project on the website as new stuff comes in. Okay?
Thank
you. David. David, trying to mention the, okay. How much that?
Yes, so
It stays up, one ball,
no, there's nothing limbo about that. So under New York State SECR, which is the environmental regulations that govern all of this, you have the planning board can classify any action in front of it as a type 1 action, which is the biggest types of projects. Type 2 action, which requires no further review, or everything in the middle, which is unlisted. That's what this is. Well, it means that we have to do a much more thorough job than type 2, but we don't need to do something like if there was a 200 unit development going in, that's type 1. Right?
Just wondering what they talked about.
Oh, okay. So we'll write that there. With that, again, I thank you all. And the chair makes a motion to close the public hearing on preliminary plat approval for application 2501 Baxter. Do I have a second? Thank you, Carl. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing is now closed. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, this makes you a picture.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you. Anything else you think of, comments, whatever, just email.
Oh.
Oh, so yeah.
All right, guys. Maybe we can run it again. Any questions for us yet?
Oh.
Which, what I think.
So as soon as they're done looking at the map, we go to, special slides to.
There's nothing.
Hi, Bill Eggers.
All right.
Have a seat. You're gonna be a while. Public hearing took longer than, so just have a seat. Half hour. I was shooting for it. I was shooting.
Okay, so, now the public hearing has been closed, and of course you all got to hear the concerns of the community. The planning board will be, doing some deliberation on what can be done for the community. And certainly a lot of this is not only part of your particular application, but also something that the highway department in particular very much needs to start dealing with. So really what we're going to be doing is looking at the specifics of your projects insofar as the concerns go, as well as looking at how we can present these concerns to the town board, and then see if we can get a reprioritization and or funding for these considerations. So it's really a two-pronged strategy here. Along with that, we also have Maggie. Did you send the peak engineering
Review.
review? So we're not going to go over line by line with that. I just want to make sure you have the seat. In the next 30 days, that's one of our to-dos, is to make sure we address all the items there and get things up to speed.
What about the site?
So we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
So we have a couple of things to take care of for that, but certainly the final staking needs to be done also.
About the folks. For their letters, it's conducted. Okay.
That was done 30-something days ago. After we left the meeting, you put out a book statement, gotta get in schedule.
I presume that was what was happening. And then we have some other issues at the next meeting that we're going to be talking about in terms of making sure that there's a right of way agreement that's set up, the maintenance agreement, which all of these things are just we're well familiar with. So we just need to start blocking all that down so that we can have an opportunity to review this and keep this application moving along while also taking all of the concerns from the community into consideration.
One thing I do want to say is the folks at the end have the concern that people coming to turn around. Once our road is open, they're not going to go down to the end of it. That was before, because we had a road in there, there was nowhere else to turn around. So people over here, I think they're going to see that traffic down at the end where he has his farm stand.
I mean, very specifically, we can divide this into two areas. We have, well, actually three. We have issues with the road that are independent of what your project is. We have issues that will be created as a consequence of the ongoing construction. And then we have issues that may materialize as a result of the new development that exists after construction. So those are the three scenarios that we'll be considering, and anything that we can bring to bear on that, we will be discussing with you. Make sense? All
I
right.
did a draft on the draft for the road maintenance agreement and stuff. That was just a preliminary draft. It's been submitted last month, I think. Submitted before, and then it got some clarification of what is necessary in that, and that's going to be also to work with in order to draw up the numbers. SBA, people, yeah, it's all in process.
Okay, so like I said, on the other aspects of the project, you know, we have a lot of loose ends, we're trying to pull them together.
Yep.
So we will get to the final. Next one. Yeah.
I was out for 3 days. I couldn't get out of the road. I live in Rolling Meadows. Dead end road in Rolling Meadows. I couldn't get out in 3 days. It's not just a side road.
So we have
I also in my backyard, in front of my house, with the tornadoes. They had 40 years.
all right, so that's it for tonight, and we will see you in some more days.
Thank you, everyone. Make sure that.
Down.
Yay.
Real quick. I don't think I have, I can get on the computer. Or you take that. Trash me.
Thanks for
I agree. I think it's probably just the right time. We didn't have too much information.
This is the second public hearing, so there was a public hearing that we had from the earlier in 2025, and the sixth one. It wasn't.
I understand. It's not the first public hearing. This is the first public hearing. That's why I make the whole, because we think that's public. How they do this?
Yes.
What time limit is on us to decide what's going to be down below?
So we have 30 days to do the.
No, I don't mean that. It's part of the public hearing.
So the public hearing is out.
What? Well, so now you have to make a decision within 65 days. That's that.
60 days, unless we have an agreement from the applicant.
Yeah. There's a past, we held it open. Not for the public hearing, that we don't close ourselves to the deadline. We weren't sure about certain things. Well, we could, I'm sure getting information. I don't think it would.
Yeah.
It's to their benefit.
Okay, so that brings us to item number 2. Moving along. Right. Gary and Gavin. So where we left off, we were project 2524 Bellows. Seeing if the preliminary plat application for the 2-lot subdivision, we want created is going to be vacant. Whether that application is complete. And, we had, assigned some missing items. It's missing, the river phone is missing, the road maintenance agreement is missing, so clerk can confirm that all of these items have now been submitted. And if opportunities to review them or not, we'll be over the next 30 days. Here,
The large lot, that nothing will be done with, right? That's how it states.
so this is strictly the smaller 2-lot subdivision.
Right. But that large one, what's the plan for that for the future? Well, that depends on some of the questions we have. As far as
So
road,
for the time being, we get to look at this particular 2-lot subdivision in isolation. If the applicants decide to apply for that, then certainly as part of the secret review, we look at the.
Tom's folder.
Oh, yes, somebody,
Yeah, there's four.
Yeah, if you want to grab it and run it out to Tom, I think he's gonna need it.
I don't know what's on this one.
That big tall guy with the orange shirt
Okay.
The tattoos.
and the tattoos.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
Good identifier.
Wave it up in the air a little bit.
all right, so, one of the things that the applicant, the builder will be required to do is switch. Or because the land is vacant and there is banks to this, I would probably provide you an opportunity for us to do this. So the first thing we're gonna do is the chair makes a motion to waive, the SWIP requirements, section 170-16A and section 168, because no new land development is being proposed, on the condition that the final plat must declare lot 2 as vacant, and that in future development will require a SWIP. Right, second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
I got one more question.
Maybe down to the line.
The entrance to the place, when you get down the steep hill and make it immediate 180.
You're talking about the private road, all road?
Yeah, now that's the private road.
Yes.
Okay. And the grade on that downhill will make the 180 is,
I'll probably not take 1%.
you think it's 12%. Right? I've done it quite a few times. I thought it more.
I mean, definitely not 15. It might be
8 or 10.
15, but
8 or 10.
like, to me, the steepest part of that is 12, but
I just thought I'd bring that up, because in the future, that's important. How steep that grade is and what it's like in the winter. Because
certainly we would have more of an opportunity, yeah, if we were actually in charge of putting that road in, but since it's an already pre-existing road.
Yeah.
There's limited things that we can do.
well, it would have something to do with the future expansion of the problem.
So if you're talking about what happens to that other
Make it
lot
happen.
in the future, absolutely, that's part of the conversation. So, good point. All right, we have motion on the table. Let's wait for Swift. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Okay. Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Which brings us to, the chair makes a motion to determine that the preliminary plat application for 25-24 fellows is complete. Having satisfied the requirements of section 170-16, A and B. Do I have a second? Ready? Okay. Discussion on this. This is us just simply declaring that the application is complete and we are reviewing and then sort of public hearing. Okay. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And now we get to an endpoint, which is the chair makes a motion to schedule a public hearing on the preliminary plat application for 25-24 dollars. Do I have a second? Good. Discussion.
Sorry.
June 24th at 5:15 p.m. So the motion on the table has amended with 4:05 p.m. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing is scheduled for next month, 24th, at 15 p.m. Great. We will see you both then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl.
Good night.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see you now.
Is there anything more? Okay. I was actually saying if I needed to know it myself. All right, so we're up to item number 3, project 2602 Melodia, which is a visual assessment in the Newport district. First, a short presentation by the applicant.
I'm here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. Johnny, good to meet you. Ready to leave. Francis is building on Rifle Road. I believe it's her son built a couple of years ago, just prior to my tenure. It's the second driveway on the left as you turn onto Rifle. So there's a small triangle of land, it's roughly 10-acre parcel. You guys remember Marcel subdivision? This was part of it. It's one of the larger lots, 10-acre lot. So they're building, Andrew Zeldin, where he's cleared a fair amount of land. It's about 6/10 of an acre that he's cleared already. No other site disturbance is anticipated at this point. It is a one-story house. Sorry?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, it is a one-story house, and I did email Maggie a couple pictures. I did take some pictures of the site. It's limited. Mainly, I wanted to show you the surrounding tree canopy. So the portion that's really, and I think Greg, you mapped this, would be here. That's the area where it would be visible from the flats. As far as the rest of it, I personally know this area very well. I know Rifle Road, I know Dominic Drive. If the questions that were put to me as to who lived on Dominic Drive, so I know this area that well. I don't see that this is in the view shed area where the site disturbance has occurred. She's having gray siding. The wall sconces are typical carriage lights and charcoal colored roof.
So quick clarification. So the septic units. We have this diagram, which is showing them by the driveway.
Mhm.
If you go to the next slide, Maggie, there's an alternate submission that had them behind the house. So which is it?
Whichever one came in second, which I believe is this one. What happened was Chris L sent me maps that didn't have this on it. And I had gone down and picked up the maps, brought them to Maggie. And then he said, well, they got to be corrected. I did Maggie flagged it. And rather than bill this lady for additional time for something that's so minimal in scale and scope, I didn't drive down and get the other map. This would be the correct location. The site disturbance has already occurred. So obviously the driveway is roughed in. Andrew did a very nice job. This is cleared here. This is still remaining intact and nothing here has been disturbed, nor is it anticipated that any disturbance will occur. It's already been done. All the clearing and grubbing has been done.
Okay. All right. So thank you for the presentation. And Maggie, can you back up 2 slides?
Just so the board knows, this does match the engineer's survey.
So let's start
Septic map.
here. So this is where we're going to have a discussion about the observability of this particular site and any place where site disturbance has occurred within this property. And what this first map is it's the view shed calculation to determine what exactly is visible. The first thing I want to highlight for everybody is this is the location of the primary dwelling, and this yellow area reflects. You can see the little triangle there, but that's in fact what was on the applicant's site plan. And I just want to point out that that very pale shaded yellow says that of all of the observer points that are down here, it can only be observed by one.
Or
One observer. So what that means is you're effectively looking up through a canyon, it's not a canyon, but sort of a view in the landscape. If you move this way, you can't see it. If you move this way, you can't see it. So in other words, it's a very narrow area on 0209 where you can see it at all. And that's just for the part of the parcel that is in our vision.
It's from.
Yeah.
what the red dots are?
Yeah. So it's right here. So the rule is we're looking for any public sheets and sequence features of the landscape from a public. We've also done the same calculation for 209 itself. It's the same as.
So the visual system.
So we may get there, but I'm bringing this up so that in the future, when we're looking at an application, we may end up in a gray area where we could, based on the fact that so few observer points are available to even see this feature, we could decide that it's not observable anyway. And that's not the case here. Where the site, the primary dwelling is, there's no observer point that can see it from our vision. Right, but do you understand why I'm bringing this up? So that when we see this situation in the future and the primary dwelling structures are in that very pale shade of yellow, we still have an opportunity to say that it's not observable.
But in this case, it's not even in the yellow, it's in the
Correct.
gray, which means not observable.
Correct.
Okay.
Right, so I did want to just bring that up so that, we got that. So move on to the next slide, Becky. So this is where we get, really down to, the actual, overlay, and where this is reflected. So one more slide, actually two more. Okay, very good. So from the overlay, it's now being reproduced on the site plan for the applicant. All the features of the site plan are well outside of that.
Would it be helpful to have the other dwelling that's in the other lot on this, just for reference?
Because it's not, we're just doing an analysis on observability, having the other lots. If we decided that it was observable, but to your point, Dennis, we absolutely need to see all those other features.
Yeah, no, I mean, for myself, I just wanted, like, I went to Google Maps to see it, I could see the existing property, but it's just in relation, it's hard to,
Yes.
you know, not that it would affect anything, it would just help
Understood.
locate.
More details
Where
there,
it is.
but that's not affecting our decision. So,
Visual assessments on different labor roads, I'd like. Doug Covell and. It's so clear.
So the definition of our section has to do with certain features that need to be looked at. So when we talk about the escarpment and the Clayton Ridge, so that's the feature that we're trying to protect. So being on top of the plateau and trying to protect features from there, that's not consistent with what the code says now or what it will say in the future when we update the code. We're trying to protect the key features of the pretty flats, Tachi Mountain, Hale Mountain. Make sense? Okay, so that's why the model is really good because it puts all of the observer points that we really be focused on. It gives us a result.
Big discussions for a good many years.
I'm sure it has.
Oh my God.
See if the neighbor's property, they want me to submit a visual assessment.
Right, because, so is this property in A4? Is it,
It is.
It is.
it is, okay.
Yeah, the entire part, well,
If it wasn't.
the downside of, when you turn on the right, going toward the flats, that portion of the A4, as you go on the other side, cutting through toward Dominic Drive, Judson 8245.
Right, but this property is in.
This portion where the house is going is definitely A4.
Right, so does the code now read if it's in A4, it requires visual assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
So with that, that's why we're all here.
Okay.
And then we get to make the determination of observability.
I have a question. So the barometer for determining if it's visible is only by the maps, but if you see it from neighboring street, that doesn't count for visibility?
So again, the streets are not the feature that we're trying to protect. So if you look at the purpose.
Because that's changed from, that's changed from it used to be the neighbor could see it, you had a naked, the light color. Is that no longer applicable to that? It's only from, if it's under visual assessment now,
Right, so your neighbor's house is not publicly accessible.
but how about the street, public street?
Again, this is one of those greater, if it's never defined in the code.
Yeah, just not using wording, I like it when it's colored.
Hey, fair enough, fair enough. But this is part of the update that's
On the
going
new
to make that
code.
useful.
So it's good now, it'll be even better next time.
That's the idea. So that brings us to the first bit of business. We need to see the classification on this. So the chair makes a motion to classify application 2602 Melodia as a type 2 action under seeker. Section 617.5 C11 and not subject to any further review. Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion on that? Just quickly declare it as a type 2, so we don't need to do any more secret work on that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And now we get to, I'm gonna start the process here by making a motion and then we'll have a discussion. So, chair makes a motion to adopt planning board resolution 2026, number 6, to approve visual assessment for project 2602 Melodia. There a second? Yeah. And,
So was that mean approved because that was, we need to do a visual assessment?
no, we're just leaving. We're leaving the application to go forward.
Okay, without that, a visual assessment.
We did it.
No, in other words, we approved the visual assessment process and we're doing it because of non-observability.
Okay. What's good?
Yep.
Know what I was voting.
It's-
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes,
The resolution of approvals in draft form already.
yes.
Okay, I have a couple of questions that I would like to add,
We're gonna read it into the record right now.
but I want to maybe augment it. See, or future work.
Maggie, if you go to, the discussion points and just click on the resolution.
You want me to go further down? What do you want?
So I'm going to, give the floor to the applicant to, provide any.
What I going to bring to your attention, this is at the request of Francine, is at some future date, she may want to put 2-car detached garage, but possibly a storage shed, a garden shed.
So, Maggie, if you scroll down to. Furthermore. Resolution. Right there, a little bit. Okay, so, as you can see, the second, the condition is that you stay out of the visual assessment area.
Mhm.
So, if there's any other work that is going to occur that is not in that visual assessment area, then this resolution holds.
That's all I'm asking. Thank you, sir. Where's the way?
Okay, any other discussion? Just
Do we want to read it into the record?
I think we just scrolled through it, so I think we'll
Okay.
save the, everybody from having to read the entire thing into the record, everyone gets reviewed it. So we have, this motion on the table for the resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, everyone. Maggie, how long, can I ask her?
Yeah, we're,
Maggie, how long, before the, building inspector will get a copy of that resolution?
Has to be filed within 5 business days. So
That's all I have. Appreciate it.
she'll get
Thank you.
she'll get a
Everyone.
certified
Well, nice
copy
seeing
as
you
well.
again.
Good seeing you, Paul. Careful.
Carl, I'll talk to you. Bye, Janet.
okay, does anybody need a minute? Starting to feel like the air conditioner is just not doing it.
It's not doing anything. Can you, did you
We're gonna have
feel
to
if it
have
can
a-
opens and snarls and locks so you can adjust it? See the box, yes.
I'm gonna take 1 minute to see if we can get the air conditioner. Doing something a little more.
No, I just like because I did my house maybe years ago.
That's where it's exactly the issue.
And take it sweet.
There are first people that sound don't go so in front of them anymore. That's the part. Well, I just.
Yeah. Let's consider it 5 that I got. All right, so with that, let's move on to item number 4. This is project 2603 Curly, which is a lot line adjustment, right off of Doug Hill Road. And we are going to begin this with a presentation by the applicant. So please share this.
Sure. My name is Erica Brown. I purchased the 2 lots. One of them is a landlocked 8.5 acre lot that is surrounded by the 29 acre lot. And our proposal is to do a lot line adjustment to make them much more even. And build 1 home on each. Yeah, so the only thing I don't have yet in for you, which I should, is the survey that I have pretty far along, but it wasn't far enough for one to get to. So what we have here in the blue is the proposed new line, so that the property on the left will no longer be landlocked. And we're proposing a shared driveway for cost purposes, and then a shared driveway to where they both, the 2 white lines go to the red sort of idea where the 2 homes would be. And minimal, you can't see, you would not be able to see these homes from the road at all. Minimal disturbance, you really try to take down little trees and try, and where we proposed that spot for the driveway, we didn't want it on the bend, which is cut off of this picture, further down. And also right where shared driveway is written, it's pretty, it's kind of wet right there, so we've got it at a higher point there. It's just a better spot on the property, and we're trying to work with them, obviously, more.
Since you're bringing that up,
Yeah.
can you forward one more slide? Yeah. So here's the wetlands.
Yeah.
We took it from the NRI. So just talk to us a little bit about that area of wetland, moist soil.
You want a pointer?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, that's scary.
Hold the button, hold the button down and point.
We're talking about this area right
Yes,
here.
we are.
Yeah, so that's why we basically have the drive, we propose to have the driveway go sort of here. And the one house would be in this area, and the other house would be going up here, but in that area there.
So it's
So
up
we're
the,
avoiding
it's actually up the rise.
a little bit. Oh, well, so yeah, so it's, I guess this is probably not quite accurate. It's probably there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big incline, but
Big
they.
I mean, it only looks like 8 feet or something.
Yeah, so that, I mean, again, really from walking the property, we've been trying to work within the, the topography and make it work, without having to do too much
disturbance.
Okay, so when you're doing the survey map,
Yeah.
make sure you delineate that. So
Oh,
you can
for
see
sure.
that where the house is.
And he's already done some work on that right now, we have had, did we do the first test? I really want,
Yes.
so we're waiting for, yeah, Pete to just give us that, but I've already got the. Do you don't have, sorry. Oh, sorry.
The
Sorry.
chair recognizes the clerk.
You don't have an actual curb cut approval from Mike Schultz yet. We do. We actually put it in. We've stopped because now that he knows that it wants to be shared, I'm waiting to hear from the chief. He's gonna go over and take it, because I know we'll have to have a turn on. Yeah, again, these guys know, so, we
I'll
have
need
the,
all that.
Hmm?
I'll need all that.
yeah, no, you have a copy of the original. I'm just waiting for the updated one once the chief, takes a look at it.
Thank you. So what I'm gonna do now is
Yeah.
go around the board to
Sure.
see what questions they have and if you can answer. Yes, sir.
It's a lot line there. Still too lot,
So, well, I'm
but it's a
adjusting.
shared driveway.
That's what we're
So you
proposing,
need to make.
which I also have already turned in.
Okay.
And so road maintenance and also the.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's not part of this process, is it? Well, I think it is.
It is.
It is. We accept that lot.
So, it's not site plan review, but because we're changing the map, we need to make notations about these features. So the fact that those areas are being done, and the building department is going to require that.
Right, because like they're planning a shared driveway, but it might not work out and they just make two separate driveways.
In the end, what we're doing is making sure citation by arrival at the building department is streamlined through there.
Okay. Seems like the driveway thing, so it's like not really a concern. It's good that they're suggesting it, but they could easily change the house locations a little bit and just do two separate driveways. So,
Why do you want to share that one? Costs, we buried the electric, I mean, it was, and also just we started the glass, I mean, it was really more of a cost thing, just because it's a big lot. So those are, longer driveways, that's. I mean, we can do two.
no, I'm not suggesting that you do that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Is the driveway thing part of the whole process?
You see, it's saying the road is coming in off the one lot, going into the other. Two different lots.
The first lot has no driveway access potential to it, it's a little broad and broad.
Right.
I guess my question is, if I was gonna buy a 20-acre lot on a 20-lot general driveway, and does that have any impact upon the dealing if it's one driveway or two driveways? Or we don't-
It actually was not. Exactly your point, you're exactly correct. Okay, so, now we're gonna get to some, housework, so the first is the classification. So the chair makes a motion to classify application, 2603 Curly as a type 2 action under seeker, section 617.5 C16, and not further to, not subject to any further review. Do I have a second? Very specifically, because this is a lot more adjustment, under the state super regs, we can, the state's granted of an individual setback by on a variance or lot line adjustment. Do the same type of action. Or the subdivision usually wants to do the next part.
Oh, it's
And then we're having a discussion. So, with that, when we get to the second motion, you will see, something about code and that said, we have a motion on the table, to classify this as a retention action. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, noes. That brings us to the second part, which is classifying the subdivision as either a lot line adjustment, or minor subdivision, or major subdivision. for our code. So for our code, we cannot classify it as a lot of adjustment. Specifically, section 170, 15A1 stipulates that maximum area of exchange can only be 4 acres. Or 8 acres. But I'm sorry, this is 2.5, so it can only be 2.5 acres. So in our code, it says whatever the minimum lot size for the zoning district that we're in, has to be that or less to be considered as a proper.
And this is
So this is
far
a
exceeds
two
that.
point five, so it's 2.5 acres. Clearly, there's more than 2.5 acres to be transferred. So, outline adjustment insofar as our code is concerned, not an option. Bring up this because in the future, the determination of lot line adjustment for seeker purposes is different part of the law than what we're doing here for our own code. Make sense? Okay. So that way we don't have to inadvertently make this an unlisted action, cause ourselves a lot of headaches in the process. Questions on that? Great. So, that's it. We are eligible for classifying this as any minor subdivision under our. So what that does is we need to go through the sketch plan process. But we can skip the preliminary plat. But straight to final plat. And when the final plat is done, it's a public hearing, and that is the review process. Good. So, the chair makes a motion to classify application 2603 currently as in minor subdivision for chapter 170 subdivision land. That's second. Yeah. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Votes unanimously. That brings us, what's next? So for what's, let me just read this next. Site visit is number one, to basically get through the sketch plan process. So we need to have section 170.14D has the minimal requirements for the staking during this part of the process. It's pretty minimal, but we do need the center of the road staked out and a rough outline of where the house is going to be.
And where did you say those specs that, is there someplace where the?
In the town code,
In the town
if you
code,
go
yeah.
to chapter 170.
Yeah.
It's 14D.
Okay.
It's like a 2-sentence thing.
Okay,
Tells you
cool.
exactly what you should be expecting.
Okay.
And then you need to coordinate with the clerk to arrange the site visit.
Okay.
The faster that happens, the faster we move this on. Yes. Question.
So that's permanently a minor subdivision.
Mhm.
Now, we do have potential with lot line structures. I think like if they have to stake out where they think they can out with what, that's still very. This is a question for my own.
Yes.
Self.
So we are decidedly in the gray.
Okay.
I wish I could be more precise about this, and I have gone through it every which way. Easily come up with an idea. One thing that's clear though is that we cannot classify it as a problem adjustment.
I think the reason I brought that up before, because he mentioned that the road is coming on one piece of property go over to the other. And that in the future could cause a big problem.
So as you have a right of way agreement, and that solves that. That is the solution to that now. Always. So you need right of way and a way. Both property owners have full access to that driveway. Yes, sure.
So if I
I think I know the answer. If we just went ahead and did 2 driveways, does that take away the minor subdivision?
It does not. It does not. And it has to do with a quirk of our own code that's preventing us from
Okay,
using
I mean,
the lot line
Yeah.
adjustment procedures.
we're putting one house on 20 acres and then I have to go through the
I mean, the good news is that because seeker isn't
Yeah.
covered by our code, we get to,
avoid that part.
Avoid
That's
that.
fine.
so, yeah. So that's the new one.
Okay.
That's next steps.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Let's say.
No public comment on this?
So we have not gotten to public hearing.
Oh, okay. Fine.
So that's, that will probably be scheduled next. So there'll probably be 2 meetings.
Okay.
Public hearing.
Let's hear from you.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yes. And item 5, Wesley is back in the building. See it. So the first thing I just want to quickly go over is as far as the planning board is concerned, where are we? With this particular application, and as you can see, we are through sketch plan approval, and we've also done a determination on visual. So that's the visual assessment, and we've already determined that there is no visual. Now it's observable, and this actually is very consistent with our shed models in that this particular area is completely outside of the approved folder. The decision we want to make, so that brings us to where the application is right now. We're beginning preliminary plat. Makes sense? All right. So with that, I'd like the applicant to take a moment and bring us up to speed on what you've been working on, and we noticed that you do preliminary plat maps and so forth, and walk us through that. Okay, if you want to bring up first one.
Let me ask you a question. So does a visual assessment is not required anymore? And I did a couple of that, so yes,
Now involved at this part of the project. My name is Bill Eggers, land surveyor. We have Eggers Park in Stone Ridge. And we had initially put together just a kind of a concept sketch for Wesley on this. And he charged right ahead with that. We got it in, got the application in before we even knew he was doing that. So we're usually involved with this a lot earlier on in the project, so we kind of play catch up here. So we missed the whole sketch plan phase of the review, and now we're here for a preliminary plan. So we put together a preliminary plat, and one thing, just as far as the configuration of the map that we have here, just this is somewhat of an unusual situation where there are 2 separate tax map parcels that are involved with this project. And so it was determined that they need to be handled as kind of separate applications. So the way that we've set up the map here is 2 sheets of the plan at this point, and on one sheet refers to one of the tax map lots, and the other sheet is the other. So if we look at the sheets that we have here, sheet 1 would have lots 1 and 2 shown on it. Doesn't say anything about lot numbers on the other lots. And the other sheet
Let me
has.
stop you right there for a moment. So you'll see project 2519. When we get to item 6, that's project 2520.
Okay.
And that is lot 3 and 4.
All right.
So
So,
that's how we separate it.
okay. And so,
So please continue.
yep, so the map that you have, sheet 1, sheet 1 covers this side of it. Right here. Oh, we went from left to right. Sheet 1 has lots 3 and 4 on it, so that's the other one. So sheet 2 is this project 2519, and that would be proposed lot 1 and 2. Now, due to the limited areas for building sites out here, the building site is right on basically the existing lot line between the 2 lots. I don't know if that's that brings in a lot line adjustment now or what, but a portion of one of the tax map lots is now being added to the other tax map lot, and then we're subdividing that.
So that's the thing that I wanted to confirm with you, because that, in essence, blown up the 2 existing projects, because to your point, you are now looking to transfer land from, I guess it's the lot 4 into lot 2.
Right.
So this requires a redo. So what we could do is make an accommodation to restart a new application where you are effectively going to consider the 2 lots and do that lot line adjustment and subdivision as part of a subdivision plan. That would be a major subdivision. And look at everything all together as one application. Okay. As it sits with the planning board right now, we cannot do that. Like well imagine, because the action under consideration is a subdivision of the individual parcels, and it cannot be a transfer of acreage from one project to another project.
Right.
So the first question I have for you is, what are we doing? Are we continuing on the path that was begun by Wesley, or are we resetting, and planning board will provide an accommodation to allow you to start the process in preliminary plat?
I would say that's what we need to do due to the location of the building site here. So that's where we have to be with that building site. It's going to involve taking some land from one tax map lot to the other. So that's what we would do then, is go into that path then to process it all together. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's clear.
Hang on. So 1 second, we're just gonna go around the board to field some questions. Sure. We'll come back to you.
So before we put 1 lot and made it into 2. Now, and we took 1 lot and made it into 2, and now we're taking 2 lots and making it 4, so now it's made something different, and it's something.
They were already major subdivisions, so they were 2 separate projects. Right, so now because we're actually transferring land between those 2 separate projects, they do that. So now we have to relinquish those applications, start a new application, and we'll set the 2 lots together as a subdivision 8-4.
Why did you do that, Ken?
Due to the building site location, you see where that little angled jog is in there? That's right on the,
Individual.
Hold the button down. and point at it.
so the existing lot line is the line in between. That's the existing line between the 2 tax map lots. It's all in the same ownership and same deed, even actually, it's 1 deed that covers all. But the new building site is gonna be right here, right on that line. So you got the, proposed building, outside is on one side, septic and reserve is kind of on the other side. So we've got to take some land off of the other tax map lot over in here to add to that.
And was that done just primarily because of feasibility, like where the building could go?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
actually, because I was there with your colleague, and actually it was more, I didn't realize it. I only live in house too. Yeah, so it was projected a little, probably within the lot line, and then when we're there, it was like a nice, like, it's be nice if you were there, so I asked your colleague, hey, could we, move it a little more there, but not knowing the outcomes. So I would be fine just pushing the building a little back like we were planning to, and if this means that this becomes another 6 months of precedent and redoing everything, then I will.
So one thing I do want to bring up for you, since it sounds like we're going down the path of a reset. that, in town, in the zoning code, we have open space development. It's not opportunity. If you are considering, or if the feasibility of the project becomes better, if you have the flexibility of making a smaller lot, with the trade-off that some portion of the unused land gets set aside as a conservation easement. So that would give you some design flexibility in terms of how you situate the houses, what the lot sizes are for them. And the town benefits by having some land set aside as a conservation easement.
My first response to that would be, I don't know if that would, unless we move the house entirely, like I said, we gave up on that side, and moved it over the lot line there. The reduction in the lot size doesn't really help us, because we still have the situation where we're straddling the
This
line.
is less me trying to tell you something you should do, and more telling you that this is an opportunity if, in fact, that was a design constraint,
Mhm.
that it can not be a design constraint.
Yeah.
So, but it's up to you,
Yeah.
and
It would be-
to decide.
Yeah. I just don't know. I don't see where that would make a difference as far as what we have the situation here. And there's certainly lots of land in there that have the potential. There's a good portion, a large section of here along the road. There's all wetland. There's a large portion of the land that's down in the back end here. There's just all vacant land, and nothing is being proposed to be done with it. Probably never will. So that would be a wonderful thing, but I don't see where it's going to resolve this little problem that we have here right now.
Again, so it's really a matter of, so, you have, 2 lots that are proposed in this, that are, for like 4 and a little bit acres. So if, my first question to myself is that a design constraint? Are you forcing the design of the layout to accommodate the 4 acres? See what I'm saying?
So you're saying,
Okay,
it
right.
could be, even though they forward.
So the idea is that you
Okay, I wasn't thinking about that, right, so possibly, like, just for example, if this proposed lot 1 didn't have to be 4 acres, we could move this line up a little bit or something like that.
and does the other house shift the location of that house and so forth? So this is the what if, like, if we're in a reset, this is your opportunity to look at that.
Okay.
Right, and then get back to us is if you want to pursue that, and, the board is going to have to.
If we were to do a reset, that's that we restarting the whole process.
As I said,
including timeline.
the planning board would make an accommodation to fast forward. We've gotten sketch plan approval since we've been looking at this project for quite a while. So we're familiar with many aspects of it. Clearly, there are some things that are changing, but I think the board, well, of course, we would do another site visit, so we would move straight to preliminary plat, which requires both a public hearing and a site visit, and staking, and so forth.
I was not here for the previous parts of this, so I understand there was a public hearing already. Do you have a public hearing on sketch and preliminary?
So because this is a new plan, we will be obligated to do a public hearing of the preliminary, but because I'm confident that coming out of the preliminary plat, we will have basically locked in what it is. We will be able to waive the public hearing for planning.
Okay, so you do a preliminary, public hearing on preliminary and one on final?
That's the way our code reads.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything in Hurley in years, so.
So
Usually
that's
done
what
in Rochester and Wilson, so, okay.
so we would likely vote on it, but we would like to do that.
Yeah, okay.
Chair recognizes the clerk.
The also two site plan applications for the two.
Yes, everything gets glassed.
Okay. Right.
Before applications to. For one,
You're still, proposing a two-family dwelling, right?
Yeah, that's under consideration.
So that's important because if it is a two-family, dwelling, then site plan review is required for the dwellings.
And for
If
single family, it's
single family, it's not, that's a minority.
Okay.
Questions from the board? Yeah.
I got one question. I'm looking at the map today.
Yep.
All the way back, you've got plenty of room for a 50-foot right of way. And in the front, you've got about 12.5 feet for a road. There's no right of way because it's wet. In fact, it's so much wetland there. One of the wetland, little green dots is halfway over in the road. Have I got the present map? March 10th. So no, wait enough to take it back. May 10th.
Are you talking about Swan Lane?
This right here. This is the road coming in.
Yeah, that whole area.
And right here, the wetland is on both sides of the road. And there's a little green patch there. Comes right over into the road.
Yeah, I think that's just a function that.
Okay.
Patching.
But the patch is this 50-foot right away ends right here. Don't keep going.
Oh, that should be on both sides out there.
That's a good catch.
So, I don't know, I just thought I'd throw that out there, to see what, because, you know, if you need another 4 foot of road because of high water and bigger culverts, you know, sometimes it's pretty tough to get that from DEC. Yeah.
Speaking of culverts, so you had that one partially collapsed culvert. So is there any, remediation on that been done?
No, because we still are working.
Okay.
They're all two-family houses.
So needless to say, as part of the plan that gets presented, we're gonna need to address that. I said as part of this reset, you know, the plan that you present, we'll need to address that.
Yeah, as part of the application.
Yeah, in other words, we're proposing, from what I gather, we're skipping the, existing applications and, speaking of public things.
So I think I need a conversation.
Yeah, so you're gonna have a conversation. So one of the logistical things is that if you decide to, scrap the current applications, we'll waive the fees on the new application. And we'll just combine, two escrow accounts into an escrow account.
Yeah.
So that's just the logistics of it, but, you are certainly welcome to, vote and decide if you want to move forward with existing setup or if you want to, go with the sort of four lot or something.
Yeah. Maybe let's go back to the road situation. If you want to explain to me, because for me, those are two different.
So I'm talking about Skymore Lane,
Yeah,
right? Because we're extending Skymore Lane,
yeah,
it means that you need new features on there, like turnouts and so forth.
yeah.
As part of our site visit, noticed that there was, one of the culverts that was going under was collapsed.
Mhm.
This is something that as the planning board, will look at it for a reason to ensure that we don't have to code. We need to have that done.
Sorry, I missed that, 'cause you-
So.
Yeah. But what I see here, it's like, I'm wondering. You got 4,000 for each family each. That could be 4 cars per house.
So the road itself, that to me didn't seem a concern. What seemed a concern to me was the culverts that are under the road.
Okay, well, you just need more detail on how we get in there, what the width is.
And we had talked about this.
Yeah, no, like, really, I'm just trying to, it's kind of a catch-22 because like the neighbors, they apparently are getting real culverts financed by the town. Now their situation is exactly the same. Culverts are as far out of the road as mine are. So I'm not entirely sure why the town is getting them new culverts.
So this goes back to that conversation about. the
Yeah,
highway
which I can really do it.
maintenance. So this is something you should present to the town board,
Yeah.
because they're the ones with the authority to do something about it.
Well, they recommend me to go to a lawyer, right? So it's.
Well, so that was the dedication of the Stonewood part. I didn't want to get into this particular thing because it's really outside of this.
Yeah, that's
application.
what I thought the same. So that's why I was.
So really, all I'm communicating to you is that we as the planning board, as part of subject fees and so forth, we need to make sure that the roads that are going to be provided to code.
Yeah.
We're just pointing out that the culvert needs to be fixed.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Good.
Sounds good.
Else.
Okay.
Right, so we look forward to your decision.
Okay.
Absolutely. We'll let you know.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
I'm gonna give you a little.
You too.
Hi, Wesley. Bye, Bill. You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Yep, absolutely.
Night. Okay. Good job, team. That was good speaking.
It wasn't busy. It wasn't boring either.
No, you're just expecting bang, 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 it's great. It's
No,
great.
you did a good job.
And I like that you
Great
let
job.
us, you kind of educate us. I think you bring us.
Well, you know what I'm doing? So, this is the funny thing. So as I go through this, I learn stuff. So, you know, it's not like it's magic or anything. It's not like I was bored with.
I thought it was magic.
I think.
Come with the right answer.
Since
But when I see something interesting, like, you know, the difference between, you know, seeker lot line adjustment is not the same thing as.
Now, can you waive the fees or can you combine the fees
We can.
by yourself? Did you need to vote on them?
No, we will need to vote, but we're not even there yet.
Oh, okay.
And I'm already
feeling a little.
Yeah, I want, okay.
No, you got it.
Can I ask, what did he mean by his neighbor had to town patrol? What was that?
Is he gonna have that?
I need to check that stone.
Okay, so,
Stone Grove, the neighbor of Bob.
On a public road.
well, the thing is that, so the Skymore Lane intersects with Stone Road.
Right.
If you think of that intersection, and then heading, would use past, you know, when you finally get to the big section of Stone Road,
Right.
right, that next intersection, which is broken on the road. But,
Okay,
okay, thank you. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's Skymore. So that is a town road. However, it is only a town road because it is a highway by use. Never dedicated.
Highway by use.
Right, which
Wow.
is basically the term of saying that, well, you know, if the horses walk along it enough times for enough years,
Yeah.
it's
It's a
just.
road.
It's a road.
That Skyward is when you turn in from the paved road, you got wetlands literally on both sides.
Mhm.
It's like a causeway going
Yeah.
through. It's
Yeah, it's
You probably
pretty,
got a good price on the land.
I'm sorry?
You probably got a good price on the land.
Yeah,
There'll
yeah.
be a lot of consequences if he gets his way to do this thing. Those houses could have, hell, they could have, six cars per house. Most families have 2 cars.
Well, we can only make the assumptions of what's.
Well, you gotta compare
But
them to-
you're absolutely right, it is a concern, and it was a concern the first time we looked at it. But as soon as I looked at this, I was, wait a minute, just merged two projects.
Yeah, it was just created a huge headache. He just, yeah.
Well, maybe or maybe not. Maybe,
But-
maybe what it is that now that a professional is involved.
Right, where you can put the house to eliminate it is like right on the property line, so it's required.
It is, might be nice on the clip, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go back.
I think the bills were turning now.
Oh, yeah, they were thinking.
Yeah, he's
Oh, yeah.
thinking, I don't need that.
Okay, so, so we don't drag on it too long. What I want to do now is, have a discussion about the zoning from update, which, was officially accepted by the town board. Really all that does is it begins the process of, having public hearings, doing seeker, doing the reviews, looking at any comments, changes, otherwise, to finally arrive at the town board passing the said law at the end of August. So that's the time frame timeline we're looking at. However, the planning board was per state town code. We are responsible for providing the town board a recommendation about the local law that involves zoning. So that's what the resolution that I sent out is about. It's not about us, going line by line, fully endorsing every single thing. It's not precluding our ability to make recommendations or modifications as the process goes on. It's simply that, yes, we recognize as the planning board that we need the data storage systems code. And what's there is either what we are looking for or pretty close to what we're looking for. Same goes for ADU, same goes for all the other changes that are being proposed.
I think one of the biggest things here is the matching.
Yep.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and we're also going to be updating the official zoning as part of this update. Okay. So that said, I know Dennis, you had some particular observations, concerns.
But then you addressed it basically because I think you said we're merging the accessory apartments and ADUs into one.
So what we're doing is we're moving accessory apartment and.
Because that always was confusing with an accessory apartment,
I totally get it.
an auxiliary dwelling unit.
An
It's like,
accessory park is like an interior, giving them the option, like build it not inside the apartment.
right, but will the ADU still address accessory apartments?
Yes, so it's a superset of accessory apartment.
So an ADU can be, I think you had it can be attached or inside, it can be a separate building. So it's all, yeah, I think that's much clearer to have ADU and accessory apartment, because it's all one. So you basically eliminated that because I saw some contradictory language in codes, one versus the other.
Yep.
There's still some as it affects the SDR rules, but that's not being changed at this point. So
But access.
And in the end, access, you said?
Yeah.
So obviously that's outside of our purview, but,
it don't ADUs get, but aren't there certain incentives for construction of ADUs and stuff like that?
yes, so, the county has two programs. Once we pass for the town of Hurley, the zoning code, our town becomes eligible for those programs, all the residents. Those include tax rebate, as well as there's But basically to provide funding for clients who would otherwise not really be able to afford a loan or that.
If you merge,
It's not great.
if you merge ADUs separate structures with people, apartment,
We're not merging them. So we're removing accessory apartment out of the code. And we're inserting in accessory dwelling unit. As it's replaced.
And will that be able to be subdivided later?
No, so the ADU is tied to the primary dwelling that never. be
Okay,
separated.
even though it's not attached.
Correct.
Yeah, but they'll try to.
Yep, that's part of the code, that's part of the.
That's good.
In other words, you could never build before, you couldn't build a little apartment on your property. It had to be in your house. Now we give you the option. And then also, there's options. So
I thought that's what an ADU was, but
In the
basically
house.
an apartment.
in the house.
No, I thought the town had already agreed to have ADUs. ADUs, so
but
they
the
need
code-
a separate structure.
But the zoning defines the physical constraints and benefits of an ADU, meaning it has to be this far, the property line has to be back. In other words, the concept is there, but now we're going to make the zoning so you can physically make it.
So we don't have to force application to a special use permit. That there's,
So this is streamlined.
it's both streamlining and creating some flexibility. While still having some very definite constraints on. how
Yes,
this is.
I thought this was stuff that's,
So, but
because all that was passed a while.
every year,
The ADUs wasn't passed by early, like 3 years ago or.
No, it's been in the code for a long time, right?
no,
Accessory apartment.
accessory apartment has been there a long time.
ADU.
Maybe you're talking about multi-family dwellings.
No, he means ADU. I
He
mean, no,
thinks
he's.
it was
No,
Yeah,
it's like
accessory
ADUs was this magic bullet to take care of the housing affordability crisis going on for years. The last 5 years.
Yeah, we never.
Well, we haven't, didn't have an ADU section,
Did-
did not.
No, you're not.
The only thing you could do is have an additional apartment in your system. Yes.
Or a common, or an
It was,
accessory structure.
limited to square footage. You could get an, you could get an ADU through, but you had to get a special use permit.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to
Actually,
make it affordable.
We didn't have the, like, our code is it situated now, if somebody gave you, you can actually, you cannot.
And send it to zoning.
Because,
They got the wind in my neighborhood. That'd be at least 6.
okay, so I do know that there were certain determinations that were made that were outside of the code that were done by the building department, independent of the code.
Okay, so this will help to facilitate, the housing crisis by streamlining and making it visual, clearer, transparent, blah, blah, blah.
Make it easier and shorter process and more affordable.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I sent out a link that had the presentation to it, and I did this to the town board so that everybody, they could see the benefits of it, and not reading code, but like, what does it do? And, I will also say that the housing community mentioned that, so, it's very instrumental in pouring on this.
I'm looking for that is not community church. And you see this now falls into that.
Because there's only so many permits in the town.
Well, we're not,
You know, but the problem is it's enforcement. It's
it's fully, right, so it all comes down to, first, let's start tackling that problem, just enforcing what we have. Because we actually have pretty good code.
We do, but
But we need to actually put some teeth.
Oh, but isn't enforcement, because the county on short-term rental has a contract with a private contractor that literally sues to surveil.
we bought it for this town. We bought the software to pay for it, $30,000, and never implemented during the time era. Paid for it, but they would run it through every Airbnb and PRO would run through it. Say it's.
Operated as a-
All right, so I would like to, why Janet is so against the possibility of an ADU? Why is everybody so
Because
fixated?
my neighborhood has been changed tremendously by that. There's nothing but traffic, there is nothing but people. When you have a neighbor who's living in a home next to you, they're gonna go to work and they're gonna do their thing, and they're gonna be outside sometimes, but when you have a short-term rental, they're here for vacation and they don't have any rules.
And you don't know
They
who's
just
coming
come
in.
out and they have loud parties
Some of
and they're
them
out at
don't,
night
some
and
of
they
them
go.
don't.
Time out. The
No, I
APU
understand that, but.
the APU script dictates there's a minimum that you have to do this in 30 days. You can't rent for a week and has that. But the whole thing is really enforcement, because people are going to violate that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where,
And the purpose of the ADU isn't to make people who live in a house have a hard time affording it, be able to get an income by having a rent. And it's also state money that could give them money to help them build that. So it's really an affordable housing solution, not a density increasing solution.
but like, all that will be true, and we also get to, over the coming year, see how it's being used. We're gonna take that data and we can make modifications when we need to.
Oh, so we're gonna have a living zoning resolution.
We are.
Oh my God, is
But
that
that's
like
why-
awesome?
This is what I was gonna get into, is that running the zoning code through this time is not a one-off. I'm getting the town used to the idea that we review every year. And then the blocks of changes will get narrower and narrower until, like a bigger thing comes along every once in a while, but it's really so that we can take what we're seeing and tune the code to tune the outcome. So that it's not a decade before we make a modification, it's a year or two. Where we can collect the data of what's happening, make an adjustment, and then see how it goes.
I have an advertisement. I have an advertisement. If anybody wants to have a ramification table discussion on the comprehensive plan that's being worked on, which will eventually lead to the new code, with zoning, it's what we had with us this weekend. Was to sit around and discuss what you want the value of building to be, what you want to preserve early, what makes it livable, so that based upon that, we can then go to the next level and incorporate it into the zone.
It's really, we've done that years ago.
We're gonna do it 20 years ago, we're going to have that for 20 years old.
Well, we've gone through a comprehensive plan
It
process
didn't work.
recently, and using a Nelson Pope and 40s.
We're not using it.
Yeah, well,
We're using each other, we're using the towns, the people who live there to say what we want.
I was at a committee to help change the zoning, the zoning rule. And you sent out a flyer, 1 to 10, on what the people wanted. We had them listed, so they would have to, they had something to pick from.
Yep.
The two things they picked was, one was clean drinking water, that was number one. Number two was a pristine area. I said, to do that, you gotta have less density. And I recommended 4 acres in the 1 acre zoning. That was my idea. Well, I had some big landowners that I want to come. I said that the one was out there, let, not kill the other one, and stuff. Anyway. He had 100 acres, he thought he put 100 houses on it. I said, you gotta remember, people want privacy. They want,
They also want water.
yeah, but I said, you think you're gonna lose your retirement. You'll be selling 4 acre lots, 2 of them to one person, because you don't want anybody building next to you. And you don't have all your sewage, all your roads, all your whatever.
So I urge you to have a kitchen table discussion, maybe. Kevin?
It's good.
Yeah, Kevin, Kevin's your neighbor.
Join me?
Yeah, Kevin's your Earl's handyman.
Yeah.
Kevin loves you, okay. He's gonna maybe have like some sheets, I think you should all look at the different areas, just discuss and see.
You went through this guy.
Oh, no, I like it.
Yeah.
They're very methodical.
Yeah,
They're not like, there's
Right on the-
not
right
an
on the
ounce
money.
of Jewish blood in them. There's no neuroses, nothing.
so what, how do you guys know when he's been on it, that's up to the round table or something?
Say again?
How do you know Kevin Have you been active?
Oh, no, I know. I'm not also on the ethics committee. Hurley has been my retirement. That's my new hobbies, Hurley.
He's on the ethics committee.
He's wonderful,
Oh, okay,
great
cool.
kid, great guy.
So this is a wonderful conversation.
Yeah,
Let's go home.
Yeah, we gotta go home.
All right, so the chair makes a motion to adopt planning board resolution 2026, number 7, to recommend the adoption of the local law amending chapter 210 zoning of the town of Berlin zoning. Second. Debbie,
Party, force.
we've already had a lot of discussion, but is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Nice match.
Motion comes close.
And I made my favorite motion. Where's that?
So we already did the voucher. So, all we need is after you do your thing, I need one volunteer to sign site plan maps for the others.
I signed last time.
You did. So.
You signed, so.
Well, he always has. It's like
Yes,
for
I
you.
can for the week and it just arrived and I want to go into that.
Yes.
Is this your first signing as a full-fledged member? Yeah. That's fine.
Thank you, Jen.
Because that-
There's only 74.
No, actually, for the visual
I
assessment.
make a
there's only-
motion there during the meeting.
I second that motion.
Aye.
Motion
Yeah,
carries
right.
unanimously.
Oh, and not to your unhappiness, I won't be here next. Okay, next month.
Well,
I have a question. Are all meetings the last Wednesday
No,
of the
the
month?
fourth Wednesday. Sometimes there's 5
Yeah, I
Wednesdays.
noticed that.
sometimes Wednesday will start on the first.
I'm sorry.
Believe it or not, it's April and September.
I created that.
It's okay, right?
Here,
I got- it's a long-